So the Quran is filled with stories as well as some pretty fascinating and interesting things that you can learn about every single day. So on this episode of FTD Facts, we'll be looking at 10 more surprising things mentioned in the Quran. Welcome back. My name is Leroy Kenton, and guys, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, I'll definitely have a link to that down below where you can check it out, and then you can come back and watch this one as well, or you can watch this one first and then check out part 1 after. Like, they're not in any chronological order or anything like that, but any case, let's just jump into this episode. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. Starting at number 10, we have hypoxia, which is a lack of oxygen. Now, at high altitudes, the oxygen concentration in the atmosphere decreases. Now, when the oxygen levels drops, the blood vessels in the lungs constrict. Hypoxic pulmonary vasoconstriction, or HPV, is a physiological phenomenon in which small pulmonary arteries constrict in the presence of alveolar hypoxia, which is low oxygen levels. Now, the blood vessels in the lungs, they constrict when the oxygen levels drop. So this was only known recently. However, Muslims believe that this was actually described in the Quran 1400 years ago before it was discovered by modern scientists. In the Quran, Surah 6, verses 125, it says, "So whoever Allah wants to guide, He expands His chest to contain Islam. And whoever He wants to misguide, He makes His chest tight and constricted as though they were climbing into the sky. Thus does Allah place defilement upon those who do not believe." And at number 9, we have gender. That's found in the Quran as well, how gender is produced. So the father determines the sex of a baby, right? And now the females have the XX chromosomes. And that is that they can only give one X chromosome. But since males have X and Y chromosomes, then men can either give X or Y chromosomes. This means that it is actually the males who determine the sex of a newborn baby by giving either an X or Y chromosomes. Now in the Quran, Surah 53, verses 45 to 46, it says, "And He, Allah, creates pairs, male and female, from sperm emitted." So the Quran states that it is the sperm that determines whether the baby is male or female. But since sperm only comes from the males, this means that it is males who determine the sex of the baby. And it's also very surprising to note that the verse number 46 is the same number of chromosomes that humans have. 23 pairs equal 46 total. Another surprising thing that Muslims highlight from the Quran is the full moon. To have a full moon, the sun, the earth, and the moon have to be aligned. So the full moon occurs at a precise moment in time. So it's the instant when the sun and the moon are aligned on opposite sides of the earth. Now, the full moon is only visible from sunset to sunrise because Earth is, of course, a sphere, so it's impossible for people in the daytime to see the full moon. So they have to wait for the Earth to rotate so that they are facing the full moon. But you see, this was only recently discovered, and in the Quran, Surah 84, verses 16 to 18, it says, "I swear by the twilight, and by the night, and what covers it, and by the moon, as it grows full." At number 7, the surprising thing found in the Quran is miscarriage. So the researchers have known that during times of stress, the brain releases several hormones, including this one called corticotropin. Now, they're releasing this hormone, which is known as CRH. Now, research suggests that CRH, as well as other stress hormones, may also be released everywhere in the body where it specifically targets localized mast cells. And during stress, the local release of CRH, they cause these mast cells to secrete substances that can cause miscarriages. And now in the Quran, Surah 22, verses 2, it says, "On the day you see it, every nursing mother will be distracted from that child she was nursing, and every pregnant woman will abort her pregnancy, and you will see the people appearing intoxicated while they are not intoxicated. But the punishment of Allah is severe." White hair comes in at number 6. Now, the big question is, can your hair turn white as a result of being totally shocked? Well, in theory, any sudden shock or accident or illness or change in metabolism could make your hair change color, but it won't be visible right away. Now, according to one doctor, Dr. John O'Connor, he's the head of the School of Physical Science and Mathematics at the University of Newcastle in Australia. He says, once your hair has grown out of its follicle, any emotional or physical trauma will not affect it. This hair is basically dead, like your nails. Yet severe adverse events could cause new hair that grows out a few weeks later to be white. And it's found in the Quran, Surah 73, verses 17, this passage. So how will you, if you persist in unbelief, save yourself from a day which will turn the children white-haired? Alright guys, so we have just looked at 5 more surprising things found in the Quran. And now before we continue to the 5 last things in this episode, be sure to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far. And also if this is your first time here at FTD Facts, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you'll be notified of our daily episodes. That's right, we post videos daily, so tune in every single day to keep on learning something new. So let's finish off this video. We have 5 more to go. At number 5, we have mass extinction. So this is a pretty loaded one. So dinosaurs, it's believed by most scientists that they got extinct when the massive meteor or asteroid hit the Earth. Now, on the impact, there's smoke and dust that covered the entire world. And now the comet itself didn't actually hit the dinosaurs, but rather it was the smoke and the dust that blocked the sunlight, which triggered a series of unfortunate, devastating events. Now, in a 3-page document written by Richard Cohen, University of California at Berkeley, the KT extinction in 1999, you'll find a detailed report and explanation talking about what happened after that impact. But it was just the smoke, not the dust, which caused the acid rain that killed the plants and the animals. Now, it's said that there are mountains in the heaven that have ice inside them. Those mountains could fall on earth, making a very bright flash. And the following verse is found in the Quran, Surah 24, verses 43. Can't you see that Allah makes the clouds move gently, then joins them together, then makes them into a pile? Then you see rain come out from within, and he sends down from heaven mountains with ice inside them that strike whoever he wishes or misses whoever he wishes. Its flash almost blinds you. Now the chapter, the smoke in the Quran, is believed to describe the smoke that resulted. And you can see in the Quran, Surah 44, verses 9 to 10, it says, "So watch out for the day when the sky brings prevailing smoke, enveloping mankind. This is a painful torture." Another surprising thing in the Quran is the spider's web. So it's generally accepted that adult female spiders build the typical webs, while adult males do not build webs. They, however, reserve that for mating purposes. And in the Quran, you'll find this verse in Surah 29, verse 41. "The likeness of those who take to themselves protectors other than Allah is that of the spider. It builds a house, but the most fragile of houses is a spider's house." There's also a surprising mention about pairs in the Quran. Up until about 100 years ago, it was thought that only man and animals were made in pairs. Female animals, male animals. However, the Quran said that everything from which the land produces, humans and what they could not see, were also made in pairs. So today we know that all matter is actually in pairs. Matter and antimatter, electrons, positrons, all of that stuff. Now in the Quran, Surah 36, verses 36, it says, "Glory to him, Allah, who created in pairs all things that the land produces, and their own kind, humans, and other things that they have no knowledge of." The next surprising thing mentioned in the Quran at number 2 is antioxidants. The antioxidants found in pomegranates as well as dates, they help the heart from suffering from heart attacks. Now there is an Israeli study that showed that regular consumption of pomegranate juice and dates actually prevent this. Researchers at the Technion Israel Institute of Technology have found that half a glass of juice a day, along with 3 dates, can bring about a significant reduction of the accumulation of fatty cells in arteries, which can cause heart attacks and strokes. Now, according to a study published in the British scientific journal Food and Function, the scientists tested the effects of fruits on mice as well as on arterial cells that were grown in a laboratory. And they found that when used regularly, the combination of antioxidants contained within pomegranates and dates could actually lower cholesterol in the arteries by 28%. Now, Muslims have brought to light that it's found in the Quran in Surah 55, verses 68. It says, "In them are the fruits, the dates, palms, and pomegranates." And finally, the number 1 surprising thing in this episode mentioned in the Quran is the eye pupil. So random, but it's there. So lying usually involves some level of tension or anxiety, unless you're a very good liar, right? Because honestly, you might be so worried and concerned to some degree that you're going to be found out to be a liar. So this tension subconsciously triggers a sympathetic nervous system, which will cause certain effects throughout your body. Sympathetic stimulation to the eye will cause contraction of the radially oriented pupillary dilator muscle fibers. in the iris and will result in mydriasis, which is dilation of the pupil. Now, an opposite effect is actually achieved when the eye receives parasympathetic stimulation, meaning when you're calmer and you're probably confessing the truth or something. The pupil actually undergoes what's called meiosis or constriction. Now, in the Quran, it said in Surah 40 verse 19, He knows the betrayal of the eyes. So that's it, guys, for this episode on 10 surprising things that are found in the Quran, part 2. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and thanks for coming back here to FTD Facts to learn with me. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments down below, as well as suggest any future topics that you want to see covered here on FTD Facts. My social media links are below in the video description section, so you can follow me over there, especially on Instagram. We update that daily as well. And also, I'll leave you with a recommended episode. It's going to be at the end screen, so once I get out of here, definitely check it out. Don't want you to miss that one. I'll see you guys next time.